of Odyssey 2, the Magnavox Odyssey 2 console.
Itself, which had...
Which is not the voice. I thought it was the voice.
He thought the console was called the voice. I was
because
like, what the hell?
said the voice on it, so and I am not aware of this console.
So there's some game called actually I don't even know what it's called. It was a very generic space laser kind of game, and
kind of like Centipede. Kind of remind me of Centipede.
Funny you say that. On the Odyssey 2, because there was a big lawsuit between Magnavox and the Atari about the Pac-Man home console rights, because they made a Pac-Man clone, and
of course they did.
They had to take it off the shelves, so they got back at Atari by making their character in another game eat a centipede. Which is kind of funny. But I don't know what this game was. It looked like you combined Galaga and Centipede or something into one. It was really weird, and it talked.
Plus, this thing looked like a computer, which...
Yeah, it has a keyboard on it.
Before this, I didn't even know that consoles and computers were mixed, but after seeing the gaming historian, it's a mixture.
Well, to be fair, all gaming consoles except for the original Magnavox Odyssey are computers.
Well, with keyboards, and that you can hook up like a Apple One or whatever to your TV.
You hooked them all up to your TV.
Well, not with...
Oh, like computers you hook up to the TV?
Yes.
Oh, a lot of the... Actually, pretty much all the early computers are like that. Hell, even the original IBM PC, I can hook it up to a TV.
Oh, well, I did not know that. And,
for another video.
For another video. So, what do you think of this console?
It's not really a computer. I always thought it was actually bizarre as hell that they put a keyboard on it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because it's never used as a personal computer for anything. It's just a competitor to the Atari, really.
Probably just to say, hey,
just as a selling
we got a
so you
keyboard.
Can put in your high score and then have it erased when you turned it off.
Yeah.
But you can type your name in and then see it go bye-bye when you turn it off the power.
Oh boy.
Kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah. This reminded me, this is like, I think it's, compared to Atari, it's a lot better than, Atari on its own right. It's more better flowing. It's more free. It's not like, two-dimensional, like, stick figures, like, doing things
no.
in a barrier.
If I'm being totally honest, I think the Atari has better graphics, actually.
Well, I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm saying that the graphics are more freer and more flowing.
Oh, they're less blocky?
Yes. They're not like... They're more flowy. They're less,
They're more...
stuck and
curved and rounded.
Less than, like a...
I don't know. I think they're honestly about on par with each other.
I don't think so.
Interesting.
But anyway. So, yeah. What are the cartridges? The cartridges, they like... Sorry. They,
No, you said the right word, but it's funny.
They like, they're long rectangles, right? Or are they like... different?
Well, on the Atari they are. On the Odyssey 2...
Yeah.
It's a long rectangle with a carrying handle on the end. It's got this handle that you just hold it. It's the weirdest thing ever.
It's like little kids would just swing it around.
I guess it makes it easy to pull out, but it's not like it's hard to pull a cartridge out of an Atari. I mean, it's not like you're trying to pull it out of an NES where you gotta push it down and then go, oh!
Yeah. Like,
got it.
How many games was made for this thing?
No idea, but nowhere near as many as the Atari. Not even close.
I wouldn't assume so, because it's...
The Atari had too many games on it.
Yeah.
That's what did it in.
that had too many games. Like, there's too many consoles from, like, many different companies that made too many games.
See, the Odyssey
that were
2
pretty much the
didn't.
same thing.
The Odyssey 2 didn't really contribute to this.
Because it's too early for that.
The Odyssey 2, in my opinion, is not a bad console. It's just it didn't get the love that Atari did. Atari,
Are you saying this is like a
had arcade success. They had a background, and they kind of already had their foot in the water. Magnavox, although they had the first video game that was commercially available, that was it. Then they had some home consoles occasionally, but...
Are you saying that this is the hyper speed... Hyperball slash Attack from Mars of
Revenge from
Mars of console gaming?
No, not really.
Oh, well...
I'm not sure what you're getting at.
The underrated classic?
In that sense... Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
I've never owned one. I did have one for a while that I repaired for the local game store, but I've never actually owned a Magnavox Odyssey 2.
I gotta say, this is...
I would like to someday.
This is on par with, like, the Atari for me.
That's what it is. It's a good Atari competitor.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I would,
It's a good console.
Yeah.
It just didn't get the love that Atari had.
Overall, I give it probably the same grade I would probably give an Atari.
I mean, in some ways it's better because you got the keyboard, even though it's a crappy keyboard, and you've got
the keyboard and
the voice thing where you can make it talk.
Yeah.
There's only one Atari game that has speech called Quadron, and all it says is Quadron, 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 and that's it.
That is the most annoying thing ever.
Quadron, Quadron, Quadron.
You can tell that people on LSD probably made that.
Or more like corporate greed. And I'm not even a liberal.
Oh,
but we're not even going to get into that.
Let's not get into Atari.
So,
for this console,
this game
slash console,
I don't remember the game being very exciting. It seemed kind of like a generic home console, late 70s, early 80s space shooter.
I mean, let's be honest here. Anything video game related back in the early 70s was probably like,
late 70s.
My gosh, this is awesome!
Oh yeah, definitely in the early 70s with like Pong and Computer Space. I mean, what the hell is this?
The
Magnavox Odyssey, which came out in 70 or 69, I can't remember. That's something I really want to own someday, but have never gotten to see.
Overall, this console, and this one game...
Hold up.
Okay.
Let me talk about the voice part.
Okay.
So, what he thought it was called the voice because there was a voice module that you put in between the cartridge and the console, and that gives speech capabilities. But the speech is like digitally. It's not digitally recorded like on, let's take my Firepower pinball machine where it talks, but it's not like the speech is actually generated by the game. It's speech that's stored as sound bytes on a ROM chip in the memory where Steve Ritchie said Firepower in a space kind of voice.
This is the same Steve Ritchie as the...
Yeah.
He
was telling me about it.
Steve Ritchie.
See, for the Magnavox Odyssey 2 voice, it's more like the speech was in my black hole that I had.
Steve Ritchie. Anyway.
Steve didn't do black hole. Anyway, so yeah, we have it's a thing where, the speech is actually generated by the computer, and the actual sounds of the speech are made by the circuitry. It's actually talking. It's not pre-recorded. It's actually saying it itself, and that's pretty cool. And that's why it sounds so much more robotic. It's like, you know, like that. Kind of like Qbert.
Anyway.
But, yeah, it's a
Speaking of
cool
that-
console. I'd give it a, an A for being an awesome console. I mean,
for awesome.
I don't really have much of an opinion on it yet.
I give it a B, solid
Mhm.
B, simply because the graphics are a lot better than
Yeah.
Atari. There's that speech thing, like you said, and on top of everything else, it was it's improvements over all that type of stuff. The graphics are a lot better too. I don't know why you would say that's not, but
I
it's,
played Atari games that have better graphics than that.
eh. From what I've seen from Atari, it's,
You haven't seen technically capable Atari games. There are some that are like first-person space shooters that look like you're flying a ship. It's actually impressive how they pull it off.
I mean, there's
But
the Atari. You
then
know,
there's combat, which
there's-
is like you're a block shooting at another block.
there's
Then
there's
mini-golf.
Atari like arcade games, and there's Atari video games, and
Which
video
are-
games are compared
Some
to
of them are
this.
kind of on par with the arcade ones. Like Asteroids, I'd say the 2600 version's a good representation. You can't replicate a vector monitor, so might as well give it color.